another episode of S A Thomson Professional Discussions. Today we have a very special guest at our office to discuss about quality assurance, how the engineering really works behind these high-rise structures. He has been involved in so many iconic, globally recognized projects around the globe: Sri Lanka, Dubai, Australia. Well-known professor, none other than Professor Priyan Mendis. Actually, Professor, it's honor for us that you're coming to our office, and we're very humble that your presence here. So thank you very much for accepting our invitations to come here and having a discussion with our viewers. Before we go into details, Professor, I know you've been involving a lot of large-scale iconic projects: Sydney Harbour Bridge, Burj Khalifa Tower in in Dubai, and so many projects in Sri Lanka. But can you give a little bit of explanation about what you've been doing lately? What projects, what initiatives you've been involved recently? Because it's part of the University of Melbourne Engineering Department. You have a lot of experience behind this high-rise structure, especially. Just give us a little bit of introduction so then we can go our discussion in the right direction.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sanjika. Actually, in fact, you and I have known each other for a long time.
Very long time.
A very long time, and thank you for inviting me to this beautiful office.
Thank you.
So many projects you are doing now, and the high quality, the photos to I know the projects as well.
Because some of the projects in all high-rise structures, when I was talking to the developers, they know Professor Priyan Mendis. Your advice was given when they designing these projects, and I'm so proud that I'm promoting an iconic project that was design guidelines was given by a Sri Lankan professor.
Thank you very much. And I think, actually, it's and even you have done so many things. I like your new concepts as well. You're always bringing some new things, working from paradise,
Yes. Working from paradise is actually anyone can work from home.
Right.
Then can work from Sri Lanka as well. So we are targeting predominantly European market who are looking at Sri Lanka as a retirement as well as a holiday destination. So we are looking for long-term residencies.
Right.
People come and stay, enjoy, work from Sri Lanka. Their children, their family come and go and visit them, and then during the winter time they can cover in Sri Lanka. But beautiful weather, beautiful natural beauty, and more importantly, Professor, it's a central location. Yes. You can travel anywhere out of Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I think that's
a lot of demand.
And also you're helping the country, to promote the country. And I know that. I know that also you are doing things in some of the high quality projects in beautiful beaches, Koggala, and these are hidden treasures.
Yes.
So you're really exposing those treasures to the world. So I think that's where so that way actually I'm very happy to come here and to be just talking to you like this, in a very friendly chat. So you're asking me about my this long journey, which really started from my initial studies at from Monash University.
So you finished your A-levels?
Yeah, then Sri Lanka. No, not only that, I did an engineering degree there in Moratuwa. Yeah, so I'm actually, in fact, very because we had free education, which I really value that, and we had high quality education.
And you have rendered great service back to Sri Lanka, Thank you very much. If you look at them, most of the major projects that we are promoting, and you are part of the structural advisory committee.
Thank you.
And all the major developers in Sri Lanka, you're part, and then you have an engineering company that
you
run.
I think that's
we'll talk about more on that. I have a lot of questions.
I know, but let's talk about that later. But here then, actually, I had a nice journey. Means after I finished the PhD here, that's again in engineering, civil engineering, concrete structures. But I had a chance to work for the largest engineering consultancy here in Australia. Yeah. That time it was called Conal Wagner. Now it's called Oricon. But so I had about 5 years. But even after that, I just kept going with them. And the good thing is joining the university is that I was independent to work with a number of other companies, Arabs to many other companies. So I was like fortunate to be really being involved, because we had that's one of the busiest times in Melbourne, and Melbourne was considered to be the toy building capital at some stage, because there were so many projects. So because I just to name some of them, my achievements are really for buildings. We call it like high strength concrete. Now, for a house or a foundation, we use this number, let's say 20.
Yes.
I don't want to be too technical today, but 20. But these are actually about up to about 100, 150 megapascal, which is called the compressive strength. Compressive strength. It's really compression. So that's why we had to be carefully doing that. And I, in fact, got an award for introducing this high strength concrete for the first time in Australia for a telecom corporate building. It's still standing without any problem.
Now, actually, one of the questions that I have, see these high-rise structures, what are the life expectancy of these buildings?
That's a very, very good question. So because there's some discussion at the moment, again, what we do is buildings are at the moment designed only for about 50 years life.
Right.
But the infrastructure, bridges and other infrastructure, we design for 100 years.
Right.
So my argument in the number of standard committees is that why, if your bridges we are designing for 100, buildings also we should be really looking at a bit more longer term.
Correct.
Saying that the cladding and facades, we were initially thinking life is only 20 years.
Right.
Now, that is really, why 20 years you have to replace facades or maintenance? So I think now that we got the technology and the quality of the materials to really last a lot longer. Right. So that's one of the main areas that I'm working in the university at the moment, trying to get these construction materials. One is we know big hype in this concrete, net zeros and low carbon. That's one of my main areas where I got a big group of people, students, very good students working on this. The low carbon, we call it, sustainable materials.
Right.
So that is, I think, something which will lot of things we are doing, very innovative things, cutting edge work, and we are already contributing to, again, rather than getting technical, all the others talking about low carbon concrete. My group is talking about carbon negative concrete. Okay. That means we are going other way around. Right. Maybe another day I will tell about a bit more technical.
Yeah.
But so I'm actually very fortunate to have a long journey in engineering plus the university. But then I always work with the industry and with closely. And I had the chance to work on other projects like the City Link project, the Burnley Tunnel.
Right.
So, and also the Westgate Bridge strengthening.
Right.
There was a emergency lane in Westgate Bridge.
Right.
So we all got involved and converted into a lane. Now you see all the lanes are running in Westgate Bridge.
So it was now strength. You don't need an emergency lane.
That's correct. Yeah. Okay. No, we had to, because emergency lanes we don't design for a very low, the number of cars or trucks going.
Right.
But when you convert it into a lane, we had to increase, we had to improve, strengthen it.
Right.
So very quickly, if you go from underneath, you will see this. Yeah. Actually, there's what is called carbon fiber sheets being really attached to that to strengthen. Right. So at that time, we brought some new technologies. Actually, even my group, that some of the work contributed to. But I'm very proud of the Burj Khalifa type of tallest building in the world. Where
you were in the advisory.
Yeah, actually, that's right. And in fact, my work went to designing these columns. Columns or the pillars are the most important one of the elements in a building.
The foundation.
Exactly, to the foundation. So that work is based on my work here, in Burj Khalifa. Okay. So that work I can name few. Right. Eureka Tower, lots of things. Actually, I was part of the team from beginning.
Until the 108 comes, it was the tallest.
That's right. 108 is only few meters taller. Yeah. But 108 also,
you were involved.
Yeah, only expert things. Right. Eureka, I was in the team basically. Right. But then, if you take out the icons, like you mentioned this, but so 108 also I had some involvement, because that's why I think I'm linking some of the things that we should look at a building.
Because I really like to understand your work. See, I know for a fact that you were involved in the Sydney Harbour Bridge strengthening after I think the September 11 attacks, the government want to make sure that these structures are designed to capable in for those kind of emergencies.
Yes, I'm not allowed to talk too much about that.
Exactly.
No, but actually that was dual purpose. But you're right. Australia was under threat at that time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there were another lane was added for another train line was added,
Correct.
and also strengthening. So some of the innovative ideas. I can say one thing which really I'm proud of, which is that the idea of Sydney Harbour Bridge is actually hung from these cables.
Okay.
Yeah, so those cables, if you break few cables, the bridge is gone. So that is why that some action was taken, a bit of money was spent at that time. But so what I did was I put some chains to these the cables to strengthen it. So these sort of innovations are there. And there are like that. There are a number of other buildings where maybe we can mix up with what is required as well.
Right.
Yeah, you may have some questions about this
Because
engineering
I
side.
am very engineering side, so what I'm trying to understand things that the general audience
Yes.
who are, the consumers who buying apartments and
Yes.
houses, what are the day-to-day questions when, let's say, if I'm buying an apartment, high-rise building. So some people have generic questions, and I wanted to get a bit of a technical answer. How these questions been addressed when you're designing those structures. So now one of the questions that most of our clients having is, okay, let's look at 108. There are 108 floors.
Yes.
When there's a fire, there's no lifts can be operate. So would all the people have to walk or step down? What are the mechanism behind these high-rise structures in a fire emergency? And also the second question we've been lately asked for this earthquakes. So now Melbourne had a couple of earthquakes recently, and then how strong enough to withhold for an earthquake on a situation.
I think they're very, very good questions.
Yeah.
Because actually, even buying an apartment, which is a big decision.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to say the someone who's buying an apartment should really take very good, serious professional advice.
Correct.
And not because you are talking to me now, I'm saying this, but people like you who are experts, who have some knowledge, has to be consulted. And I think rather than just trying to say buy on your own, that's my first advice. Because you are really buying something for you, a quality is important. So when you look at a building, first of all, I would look at someone who are the engineers, who are you mentioned about my involvements, and who are the architects. That's sort of the team, the consulting.
Very important.
Very important. Correct. Yeah. And so because I know people like you, you know them, and you get involved with projects where the leading, it can be engineers to architects who could be involved. So that's the first thing I would be looking at. Now, it's quite important because when we have a look at a certain apartment, it's not short term. You can just cover it and with some paint and sell it. It's not that. It's longer term. So there could be problems where sometimes developers do things and they just go away and they don't. So that's a bit of worry that we are having I can't name even Australia or some other countries. We know buildings have problems, and there were 2 failures in Sydney, and that I don't want to go into detail today, but there are failures. So that's why we have to be just carefully, and if we can be, I know you're involved in very good projects in Sri Lanka to Australia to start with, of course, your landmark projects, Sri Lanka, then you have, you're now in Dubai as well. And
now in Dubai as well. So that's why I know you're involved in all these countries.
Dubai, so I've had some familiarity. But
when I'm promoting this, one of our very important selection criteria is to decide which projects we are going to promote. We're not going to promote every developer coming to us and asking, okay, sell our project.
The quality projects that you go for.
The quality projects, because customer satisfaction is finally very, very important for us. So we cannot give something just because we want to make a commission out of it. No, nothing like that. So we want to make sure we are giving the right product. So that's why
they're coming to you, right? Because you have maintained that quality, and the track record, which really because of the selection of high quality projects. Now, you asked a very good question, which I want to go back to that, where the fire, which is really the major issue in buildings now.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. You asked a good question, because that's one of the reasons which restricts the heights now of the tall buildings. However, we have got that's the area that I have.
I saw some paper article you are involved into the fire safety
Yes, that's right.
regulatory
Of the high-rise buildings,
high-rise
and
building,
especially,
so,
yes, yeah.
which is I'm asking the question.
That's right. Thank you very much.
So-
Thank you. So actually, I'm qualified to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been also research and also been involved with fire design of some key buildings. I'm involved in. So which we didn't have that at that time, long time back, the buildings. But however, the presently, in summary, if I say a little bit in briefly, if I say we use some after about 25 meters or so, because firefighters can't, just fight a fire. So we use sprinklers and all that. So also we have to use sprinklers. I don't want to use technical words. We call active fire protection.
Right.
And the passive fire is where you protect the structural elements.
Right.
So even if there's a fire, it's safe. So you should have, then we call it evacuation time. We say we are designing for, let's say, 2 hours or whatever. Doesn't mean that you have to stay for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But so this is safe for that time where some attention can be given.
Right.
So in the design stage, we again, probably another day I'll talk a bit more detail fire design itself. But so we do both cover active as through sprinklers and other means, and the passive fire side we use what is called fire sprays and quality products, but to really protect the structural members so they don't fail in a fire. Fire is very critical, as we know.
Yeah, because I have seen even somebody cooking in an apartment, and if the fire alarm goes off, the firefighters have to come, the whole building have to evacuate.
Exactly.
This is going to be a very problematic and chaotic.
And we know the cladding crisis, which we won't have time to go through everything.
I remember with the London one building.
London building, the Grenfell Tower.
Then after that, I know that you've been appointed to look at the Australian.
Some of the ones we were in that committee to look at the Australian ones, the cladding. So because of this, the low quality products have been used for the cladding. So that was the reason. So that's a key one. That changed the fire. Those fires, we had what's called Arcross fire in Melbourne in 2015.
Yeah.
That changed. So we have then Australia came up with a very good national construction code. It was there before, but after that, more attention on fire.
Right.
So now that's why the buildings are very safe here. Now, National Construction Code covers the fire issues and in better than any other standard in the world. So our construction code. So what I'm doing now is to, even in Sri Lanka, there's a beginning of introducing a code. Not only me, there's sort of experts from Sri Lanka, especially.
Right.
I think I'm the only international person, but involved in now coming up with because we can mix Sri Lanka and here.
So
but
that kind of a safety measures being introduced in Sri Lankan construction industry as well. I have another question later because I want to compare the safety wise, the high-rise structure in Australia versus Sri Lanka. What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a good question, which I'll come to that.
Yeah.
And to fire, the other main one is what is called, we call it evacuation period.
Yeah.
If something happens, then people had to really look at that very carefully. So what again, I'm mixing Sri Lanka as well. I'll come to that one. But Sri Lanka, we did a very good evacuation exercise as well for Lotus Tower as one of the world's first. Anyway, so I'll come to that if we have time. But so these construction codes and all that now specify for high-rise, we have to have what's called refuge flows. That is, we try to use about every 10 or 20, maybe even up to 20 floors, you have to have a refuge flow. That refuge flow is in fact highly protected.
Right.
That's so someone coming down to a refuge flow will be very really protected.
Right.
If you travel around Melbourne, bushfires, you see refuge areas in certain ways where if there's bushfire, people can go to there. So it's very highly protected zone. So these things are, and the sprinklers, as I said, are covered. World Trade Center, we learned a lot after 2001. And I was only member from here. It's more, I didn't go too many times there, but from Australia. Outside US, I was the only one who was consulted for that when they wrote reports and all that. So I'm a bit familiar with what happened in 2001. It's more on the engineering side, of course.
Correct.
So that changed the world, how even the high rises are designed. And the introduction of, I can go into detail another day, but we had to have some 2 stairs to all that. Also the lifts now. So how the lifts work, the lifts get, actually in fact they are frozen until the firefighters come.
Right.
And they have to open it using a key,
Right.
firefighters. So lifts can operate. Those days we were told that, don't use a lift when there's a fire. But now we can operate
So the firefighters have to come and inspect it and
correct. That's right.
let it
Correct.
going. Okay.
That's right.
So these people can use.
That's right.
during
Yes,
a
because the other problem in the world had was only one staircase where for these sort of unique buildings, the firefighters were going up, people are coming down.
Yes.
So there's a big problem.
Big
But now there are 2 stairs.
Right.
So some of the
separate stairs for the firefighters.
that's correct. Yeah, and in that one they use that one.
Right.
So the lifts are mainly other people can use it. Also elderly to children to disabled people, all that. So lifts are really meant for that.
Right.
But other lifts also can be in fact used.
Right.
Now some cutting edge new work has been done in my group by this evacuation modeling,
Yeah.
which I'll show you another day. So fire we have gone long way, and I had to say that the high rises in Australia, I know you will talk about Sri Lanka as well, and even Sri Lanka is very safe as long as qualified engineers get involved with the knowledge on that.
Correct.
So I think there's an issue in every country. This one, they are going for sometimes cheap options, cutting corners,
Yeah.
and going for cheap option, which is really so. We may have some failures if we are not careful in everywhere. Australia is at least Sydney didn't have many rules. Melbourne had better rules.
Right.
Now, after those 2 failures, which I had actually, in fact, I have some involvement, not too much in the investigation. I didn't want to be involved. There are reasons which I can give.
Yeah.
But that way, it changed. So the rules change here. Now, coming to Sri Lanka, because can I talk about
So
that?
because actually, I want to come to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So now that's telling me what you said. Based on what you said, price. Sometimes the people go for price. So you might be able to find a cheaper product, but whether they are qualified engineering behind that construction is very important when you're selecting a product. So sometimes small difference, but you'll have a better outcome in terms of structurally. But come to Sri Lanka, let's so I know Sri Lanka also developers are using high-tech technologies to get into this level.
Yes.
And what is your view on that?
Yeah, that's a very good question because I can say that again, actually I was fortunate. I had to name Mr. Shrival Fernando, who invited me to really start this company in 2011.
Right.
That's the biggest engineering consultancy in Sri Lanka, if I'm allowed to say the name. It's
Of course.
Civil and Structural Engineers Limited, CSEC.
Yeah, I'm also very proud that a prominent professor like you now giving these services, wealth of experience back to Sri Lanka. Because Sri Lanka is now fortunate to have someone like you, because you've been giving your advice to all over the world. So you are freely offering your time and services to Sri Lanka, but our people should use, because most of the countries are coming behind you to get your services, where you're always open for Sri Lanka.
And there are problems, especially these days, but I don't want to be involved with simple things.
Yeah.
But 96, I did a short course on the tall buildings in Sri Lanka. That started basically at that time, the knowledge was not there.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of that. And other things I introduce you, I'll mix it a bit this also, because earthquakes you mentioned. Now, earthquakes, I'll start with that one. When there's a saying that earthquakes, tall buildings are really, it's not good at all, but other way around. Because the low-rise, smaller buildings are very stiff.
Right.
So it attracts more earthquake forces.
Right.
High-rise is very flexible.
Right.
So because it's flexible, it attracts less earthquake forces.
Right.
So the high rises, wind dominates. Of course, we are doing very carefully both designs, but usually the wind loads dominate, not the earthquake loads.
Right.
But so other thing, the similarities when at that time I was saying that's why my experience in Melbourne and Sri Lanka, Colombo, and all that very similar earthquake. Really, the risk and also the wind speeds and all that. We are very similar for some reason.
Yeah.
So that way I could introduce 96 is still the standard there. The Australian Wind Code, which I'm in the standards committee, to Sri Lanka, where it's a practice in Sri Lanka is to use that still.
So the standards, these codes, been introduced by what body? What is the body and the structure?
Good question. Yeah. So here we have what's called Standards Australia.
Right.
So I'm in materials committees like concrete and so on.
Yeah.
Also, I'm in the loading committees where we write the earthquake standards and the wind standards, all that we write. So I have first-hand knowledge of all that.
Yeah.
And so that's Standards Australia, which we have been involved. I'm busy, but I still contribute to those ones. Some of our work has gone into the standards here. Then the equivalent one in Sri Lanka is called CEDA, which is really, they maintain standards. So certain standards. Usually Sri Lanka is used to Eurocodes and all that.
Right.
But again, that there's some discussion and improving that for Sri Lanka, where I have some involvement as well. So being involved in the earthquake side and wind side, very similar to here. So I introduced for the earthquakes, the earthquake level is very similar to Melbourne. And so on. And the wind speeds also, as I mentioned before also. So we have learned a lot from like what we have done here and other parts to improve the engineering side of it. And the construction, of course, we have good builders as well. Okay. So with this company being started, actually we are, CSEC is now about 140 engineers involved in projects like Cinema and Life, which opened recently. I know you are involved in that.
We are one of the sales agents for Australia.
Right, that's very good.
So we are proud that we are selling something when the professor was involved in the structural advisory board is with me today.
Thank you very much. Because
such an honor. And I'm so glad that you are saying that you are introducing the same quality standards as here to Sri Lanka as well. So anyone buying high rises in Sri Lanka also have that assurance that the quality is being not compromised.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So other projects was Lotus Tower, from engineers for Lotus Tower. Although Chinese construction people were there, but we were there from Mr. Shomal and myself, really were the leaders in that engineering side of the Lotus Tower, especially structural to construction advice. And then the other projects like the Twin Peak, and then also the Prime project, the Grand,
yes.
And also the very good homeland projects like the Tickle Road, Oceania in Wadu. We have been involved with, of course we are independent, we can be involved with any
and I think, because I like to say these, the structure that you are involved in, and proudly we are also selling those projects, and the quality is being introduced by Professor Priyan Mendis' team, which is good. And there are a lot of high rises coming up as well. So we want to make sure these developments coming up in Sri Lanka not compromising any quality in terms of safety wise.
That's a good point. Now, other side is that I don't want to name any, but
yes,
we have been asked to help in where some high-rise projects where they had problems already.
Okay.
So cracks and other problems.
Just to
rectify
issues.
So that's why I think the same time I can see, as I mentioned, even in Sri Lanka, some of the developers are going for cheaper solutions and bit of cutting corners. So that is a concern in not only Sri Lanka, even here it happened a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Now we are going other way around to protect it, because to eliminate some of those low quality type of construction, because it's again I'm repeating here, but it comes not just now, like when it'll come in about 10 years, it can be a bit later. So and I know the ones that you are advertising, I can see this nice office, all these number of the projects here that you are, like, in fact, helping to really promote. And those ones, I'm sure those, they follow these quality, quality team of consultants, the quality builder, and then people like you involved in the quality, where you maintain and you're not compromising quality promoting even, right?
Correct.
So these sort of things are quite
we want to
important.
make sure we're promoting the right product. So now, Professor, Sri Lanka, Australia, we compared, we discussed about the measures to safeguard these safety measures. Now we are also promoting Dubai high-rises.
Dubai,
So what's your view on, I mean, they are also maintaining the similar standards or what?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, because even Dubai, the lots of the foreign consultants, basically they nominate and they do the work. Although Dubai
They
local,
really get the high
local
end
people are there, you need to still sign, but. But Sri Lanka, of course, because of these engineering companies like CSEC too, so foreign consultants have not come, which is good. Yeah, the local knowledge is so important. But Dubai, because of that, there's a team of people. That's how I got involved, because there's a company called Haida here in Australia, was really the ones who were later on in the construction side. There were redesigns were done, optimizing, value engineering, all sort of things. So that's how through Haida, that I got involved. So a number of changes were made. So these foreign consultants and all that getting involved there in Dubai made sure the quality is all right. So
I mean, Dubai is building world-class infrastructure.
Yes.
So obviously they use the top of the knowledge. That's why people like you been invited, which is also, we are proud about that. And the Sri Lanka also, you're offering services here. So we want to make sure at the end of the day, safety and quality products being delivered by these developers. And your involvement, it's heavy, very appreciated. And I mean, it's a great honor that someone from Sri Lanka came here and studied and become a professor and offering these services. And
thank you. That's really actually going back to what you said, that if you go for that sort of the quality team of as I said, I'm repeating here, but consultants and others, and go to person like you, where then actually the buildings are safe. Exactly. That is really no need to worry about the,
because those are some of the questions that people had in their mind when you're buying, because we sell apartments as well as house and land. So in Australia, houses will get a lot of capital growth and apartments will get rental yield. So we have both on the plate. But people think because houses are flat and low rise, so it must be more safer than high rises. That's the kind of discussion I want to have. They are given a very good explanation.
Thank you very much. Because I think even people living in there are very safe now. Even but of course there are the cladding crisis came, and then that changed the world a little bit. Especially 2017 Grenfell Tower type of failures, and we had World Trade Centers. We have learned a bit, and that really has helped us to really fine tune and go for some methods of innovative methods, but they can be. But however, to make it even safer buildings now. So
because every emergency, every disaster, it actually relook at what went wrong and how to improve. So that's happened anywhere in the world, I think. But in Australia also, we had a recent earthquake. So then I heard the building codes being relooked at, whether we are strong enough to stand for situations like that. And I think Sri Lanka also doing the same thing.
Yeah, Sri Lanka actually, that's put in that. But there's been a work done. Actually, I know personally what CSEC has done, but have done very carefully evaluations of the applications of codes. Like even I introduced these codes, but how applicable to Sri Lanka. So that sort of background work has been done. So in terms of, we can be very proud actually the type of work that has happened in Sri Lanka too.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I want to say, Sri Lanka has more people as well to work.
Exactly.
So because of that, certain things can be done. And here also the good projects. Yeah, there are still projects which I don't want to put my name. There are, if I say like even not only here, even Sri Lanka also, there are projects where like no, we doesn't matter. Like they invite me and of course CSEC and all that. We don't want to put our names because we feel that they will not deliver a quality product.
And Professor, I think we are running out of time as well because I have a lot of things to talk. I think we should meet up again. But I have one last question. So now, when it comes to now in Australia, if you look at Melbourne CBD or Sydney CBD, high-rise structures started and it's been delivered. We can't see actually any abandoned or not completed high-rise structures. But in Sri Lanka, in the city Colombo itself, I don't want to name, but we can see some high-rises structures going all the way up, but not completed due to various reasons.
Yes.
But I want to look at the engineering perspective on those structures. If someone's coming back after 10 years or after 5 years, are those structures, are they safe, or how do you relook at these things to back to life? Is there because now it start to come, these structures being sold, selling back to another developer. That guy might be, look at and redoing, or it has to be completely removed or demolition, start again. Or what's your view on getting those abandoned structures back to life? Because they're high rises, 60, 70 floors already gone, but it's never delivered for last 10 years.
Yeah, I think you're asking a very good question here. Very good question, because actually it's already named some buildings in Sri Lanka where, of course, there are reasons. There was a financial crisis came.
Yeah.
COVID came, and some of the went bankrupt to all that.
Yeah.
So one big example in Sri Lanka is the Krish Towers, which is opposite Hilton.
In the part of the Colombo.
No, that's really it's obvious one, which really and it's in public knowledge about the problems with the Krish developers and other things. So again, that being the engineer for those buildings, CSEC. We know everything about that.
Correct.
Actually, it was going to be the tallest in Sri Lanka and one of the tallest, tallest in South Asia.
Correct.
If one of the Krish Towers was built. Yeah. So now we have at least we are proud of Lotus Tower being the tallest in South Asia tower. Because India, they don't have. Now, similarly, there was a building which was, one of the buildings was that. So it's a good question, and even here, sometimes you stop and start. You used to have, but when it's not about 3-4 years sometimes. Some projects. No, that's why we have to be very careful because you're exposed to the weather and the everything. So if you're doing it again, if you want to really. Because you don't want to demolish. Because other thing very quickly I want to mention, this new sustainability things. I brought what's called, even under YouTube, there could be there's another talk. Retrofitting was a demolition. Now people don't want to demolish. They want to actually, by legislation in some countries, they have banned demolition because even houses, because of the reason is sustainable. Because it's really so retrofitting is a big one. Which now that's one example. Is of course these sort of. Once we do what's called condition monitoring.
Right.
So really reanalyze the whole thing by looking at the present status of the structure. So that's one. If Krish comes back, we will be doing a thorough analysis of everything, and it can be done. It's no. We may have
those actual pillars and structures and piling being done for stand for long life, right?
It's true, but still, even the underground. Above ground is a little bit easier because you can see things. Underground also there could be some issues there. So we have some new techniques, which actually I got a large government grants also a few years back. We call it non-destructive testing techniques, where we use sophisticated testing to even check underground.
Right.
So really whether they are all right.
Right.
Because if you leave it for that without any covering and all that, it can be underground water seeping through. It's a big problem. So other one which really, because you asked about the world scene, I need to say I was in about 3 weeks back in Toronto. We had the World Tall Building Conference. I was there.
Yeah.
And so the latest news we get, mingle with the best in the world.
Yeah.
even the builders to engineers to all that. That is a place where we meet every year, the World Conference. So I was there this time as well. So in Saudi, they are starting it's called a Jeddah Tower.
Okay.
So it could be 1 kilometer. So they are thinking it will be about 1 kilometer. Burj Khalifa is, I think, 824 if I remember correctly, somewhere there.
They're going to be the tallest then, isn't it?
Yeah, so Jeddah Tower, but that stop and start so many times
Right.
due to so many issues. So not only
It can be
financial.
safely done.
Yeah, actually, so there was a presentation from the company the engineers doing that, Thornton Thomas City, I know them very well in US. So they have done a very thorough analysis like this, look at the condition of the Jeddah Tower and then even have techniques. Certain things even like, no, I'm not officially involved, that people like ourselves, they have a, like, no, they've been approached us to comment on. So in this case, I was asked to comment on some of the concrete materials in that. So again, I didn't want to be involved too much, and this also I got a busy schedule as well. So I need to, and also I need to select my time, and I want to. Yeah, I like to. Yeah, been as you mentioned. Thank you for that very kind comment, but. Of course, we can be involved in a number of projects around the world, but I want to focus a bit as well on the Australia, Sri Lanka. But at the same time, the Merdeka Tower, which is really, I want to just say this, but Merdeka Tower, which is in KL, is going to be, we all know Petronas Tower, it's be tallest in KL. Mr. Tenku is my good friend, who the developers, they were developed this on PMB developed this, but so I met him in Toronto also this time, and he has visited me in Melbourne a few times. But so they just opened, and then not the complete thing. So in that one also, again, I was asked to look at the safety and security of the building.
Right.
That's the one which really, that's going to be second tallest building. And so I can, rather than I wouldn't want to take too much time, but I would say that I am actually fortunate and privileged to be having the opportunity, because I'm not saying there'll be others also who will be very good in doing this, but maybe I got that opportunity to be in the forefront of in the tall buildings area. Even here, actually, not when you're doing R&D work here. Even I'm one of the people who are. I think Toronto conference, there were a couple of consultants, but other than that, there was no one. We had only 2 or 3 in this biggest conference, 1,000 people. Australia had only about 2 or 3. So
you're one of them.
Yeah, so I think that way. No, thank you for asking this question. So I was sharing with the latest in the world.
No, thank you so much, and I think it's a very productive discussion, because we don't want to be too technical, but we wanted to be technical enough for general users who are consumers to understand how safe the products that they're buying. And your involvement is very much appreciated, and your knowledge sharing with us today is really thankful for on behalf of S A Thomson as well as our clients. And I think not only our clients, as the broader audience, this will be a very productive information session for anyone who's interested on high-rise buildings and safety and regulatory and how these things works in multiple parts of the world. So, Professor, once again, thank you so much.
No, thank you very much. Also, I want to just comment that S A Thomson, the service that you do, not only to Australia, to Sri Lanka, now Dubai, to you, that you're like, no, you're trying to help Europe as well. Now,
so, Europe is a different concept.
It's a different concept.
We are trying to promote Sri Lanka mainly.
Yeah, in Europe, yeah, that's right. I meant that actually. Those new concepts that
a lot of Europeans are looking at Sri Lanka as a country with quality of life, value for money, and even our buildings and the villas and apartments, everything is state of the art. And our people have high literacy in English, which is also helpful, and the beauty, the weather, the wildlife, the food culture, everything matches for someone to go and live there.
I think that's this time I think the best destination in 2025 award. Sri Lanka is very. I could see that so many tourists now. I think come in there as well. And Australians also, I didn't feel that before, but now they're saying, I want to go to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown Australian we bump into each other saying that's in my bucket list, which is good.
Yes.
And also now Bali being one of the retirement destination, but they have now active volcano. But there's a lot of people will definitely go and visit and come as a short holidays. But long-term retirement, Sri Lanka has a great opportunity now because a lot of people looking at Sri Lanka. So, and I heard there are more direct flights coming in from next year. Hopefully, this is a very good point from Melbourne on Sydney.
Yeah, we heard the other day when we were some other launches. But so I think that's a very good thing. And I think again that I know you have, which your knowledge on that side, even in when people buy something, the advice you're giving is so important, and that I think that vast experience you have in Australia, as well as Sri Lanka, and now get into Dubai, and I think that's you're just congratulating me, but you have to be really congratulated as well. All the huge things you're doing.
So thank you so much, and I know all these structures are so safe because of people like you. So thank you so much, and once again, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
And our people, if you have any specific technical or detailed questions, please email us. I'm more than happy to.
Sure, actually, anytime, anytime.
So
actually,
those can be
anytime. I'm happy to, because actually things that we like to work with them, and those people are interested. So I'm available. That if there are any other questions in all the way we have to.
I know last time we did a discussion, some engineering students email us and wanted to connect with you. You are helping them very humbly, and just thank you so much. Very down to earth person. So I'm very happy that you're coming.
Thank you very much. And also,
thank you for helping Sri Lanka, Australia, everywhere.
Spending time in this beautiful office. Such a again, I had a good time.
Thank you.